pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors in session on this 28th day of August 2025. First thing is on our agenda is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. The minutes of August 14th, 2025 has been before us. Motion to approve them.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a second? Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Jake, you're up. Please.
Okay, I really don't have too much today. I got two permits. The first one is a utility permit with Lisco, and this is actually relating to our bridge replacement project on 235th Street. They were attached to Access, so they're going to be doing an aerial on the very south side of our project. So we are good with it, and they're going to try to get that in there done soon, so before the contractor moves in. So I assume you guys are good with that. There's a little picture that comes with it if you want to see it, but just they're going to be on the south side. So utilities, we don't usually get too much into it, but just FYI. And then the other one is a working right-of-way permit here. It's to repair a water line that is broken. They're going to be digging in the ditch to see if they can find a repair there right near their entrance. If it's not, then they'll have to do another permit with this for replacement. But we're going to hopefully work on repair first. And that's on Benton Avenue.
Who did you say was doing that repair?
It's the contractors. I think it's called KP. We just got their information, so
yeah.
we're.
Yeah, okay.
This came in this morning, so I'm having you approve it before the landowner's got to come in and sign it yet. But they're going to try to do the work tomorrow, being a water broken water line. Okay. Rest of it's just updates. So maintenance updates, concrete patching, Goodyear Road. That's what we were finishing up at the end of last week. I'll talk about that here in a little bit, some more. White Oak Road, after we got done with our patching, we started a kind of an extensive project to replace a culvert. We've got to do a lot of prep work working on the downstream side of the culvert. We had some pretty severe erosion and washouts. So we're in there getting that built back up and placing some riprap and then doing some work on the inlet end. And then next week we plan on actually replacing that crossroad pipe, so we'll actually have a closure for that. But we have been working out there for a couple days to get that ready. Territory operators, I put down blading roads. We haven't done as much of that over the week, but they have been in and out of it. They have been focusing on helping resurfacing rock. We've been working in the Winfield area. The Winfield area this week, and again we're going to be wrapping that up. That's most of our dead end roads or roads that weren't part of our contract rock hauling. And typically during this week with old threshers, we try to get the heck out of Dodge with our guys, so we usually vacate and get somewhere up north out of the area, so we're not coming through town with our equipment and stuff. So.
Speaking of the Winfield area, so what's going on with that road closure up there? Is it Penn Avenue?
Yeah, so we did close Penn Avenue. And that's on me. On last Thursday, I had a note to bring that up, but we were having a lot of troubles with when it rains. Semis were going down that road, and if it wasn't raining, they're going down that road. So we had some ruts down there. We moved to close that road while this project's going on with that 10-ton bridge. So we have a very small bridge down there. Obviously, since I've closed it, I helped stop the rain. So you can thank me for that, I guess, a little bit. But we're going to keep it closed just because the indefinite people we were seeing a lot of loaded trucks going through that bridge, and that is a detriment to our long-term. I mean, it's putting at risk at our stuff that we have out there. So we elected to keep that closed, mainly because we haven't done any repairs to the dirt road itself. So,
Chad, you had a concern on that, right? With the DOT or something? On that road?
Enforcement.
Weight limits or something?
Enforcement.
Oh, yeah, who actually would enforce the weights on that? I mean, if there was violations going across that bridge.
we did. So we had one that
Okay.
got stuck, and we called. So we made the phone call to. I'm losing my train of thought here. The motor vehicle enforcement. Any patrol officer can stop them. They have to wait to get scales.
Yeah.
So, Rich, if I'm wrong, correct me.
No, you're correct.
If any time that we have it, and we've run into this at other times where something's suspect, the sheriff's office will pull somebody over. If they are concerned about the weight that they're doing, then they can call motor vehicle. And if they have them available, they will bring them there. The issue we run into a lot of times would be whether or not another call comes in. Rich's crews aren't gonna sit there and wait for that. But on this one, the truck was stuck, so we had ample time to get it enforced.
Unless something's changed, there's also, the ability for any officer to escort that vehicle to a certified scale and have them scale out that way.
Yeah, and that's probably past my wheelhouse on that, but on our end, we knew that there was a probable cause that they were overloaded. I mean, even an empty truck is overloaded.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we were taking a look at, and again, this is just a concern in the area. We were having concerns with trucks getting stuck routinely on there. We did have it on 140th. We elected not to close that one, mainly because of there isn't a bridge there, and we're managing that little piece. This other one, that's where we're at right now. So, for an update there, and then now with school in, we are seeing a lot more traffic and stuff. So we have worked with the DOT, and there is another section that we're going to add some dust control on because we're seeing traffic. I think it's Nashua. We're getting a lot more vehicle traffic up Nashua, and we're going to be the DOT approved to put dust control for that other route. So basically, people are coming up and they're going either this way around 78 or going this way up. So we took care of this side because that's where we were seeing it. Now we're seeing it on the west side, and so we'll be doing that in where the traffic's running. So there's always the argument, well, I'm seeing some increase in my areas. Is it enough to warrant it? So anytime that we get those requests, we pass it on to DOT. They've got to approve it. The only thing that they're going to approve is to pay for the dust control. They won't pay for any of the rock damage. That's going to be on us because they have their assigned detours. So it's just the nature of construction and detours. There's always somewhere you've got to stop with who's responsible for reimbursement. So.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. Where was I at? Okay, resurfacing Rock Winfield area. Mowing gravel roads, we're still working on that. That's starting to slow down. We're getting caught up on that. And then signs, I did not update that, but it's not speed limits, but Pete's been working on signs off and on as other signs that he's got in the area. But we are done in the Salem area with all of our updated signs, so we've got all 4 corridors coming into town are up to what you guys approved for the speed limit resolutions. So.
And the signs work great, so.
Yeah,
They're very visible, and I've seen people hit their brakes, so it's working.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, the stop signs, I drove through the other day just to see how all that was working, and the beacons are very bright. They're showing up like they need to be, so that's what we want. We got a good crosswalk out there. Miscellaneous concrete patching, Goodyear. We completed that last Friday. Monday, we removed the traffic control, so we had lights up over the weekend there at the Continental plant. And then we spent the day cleaning tools and equipment. So we spent 2 weeks out there. We got a lot of patching done in a short amount of time. My guys did I think a great job out there. If you drive the road, they ride pretty good. Anytime that you're doing those patches that are getting out that 30, 50, we had a couple that were even at 80 feet. It's hard to always get those to be real smooth, but they actually turned out really nice. So my crew did a nice job, and I appreciate their work on that. It doesn't mean that the road doesn't need more patching. That's what we could fit in, and we kind of went after the worst of the worst right now to be ready. So when we do have that detour come through there, we can. So we focus a lot of our efforts on the Goodyear, the north-south portion, because that's where we'll see the majority of the traffic at. And then as you're looking as you go on west to Franklin Avenue, if we have some others, we may have to patch at times. So traffic does have options, but that will be what we sign for the detour when we do that bridge project. Fuel system, this is kind of the one, I guess I call it the negative here. So the contractor, which would be Seneca, encountered an issue with the new fuel tank replacement. So in the process of getting the permits in order that they're responsible for, with Fire Marshal, there was something that they're enforcing that's different than what they were anticipating. And that led to a setback on the project, so it's gonna change the type of tank that we're gonna be utilizing. We're working on an updated schedule, so the hope originally was to be done with our fuel system update before school started. Obviously, that didn't happen, and so we're on contract, so that's pushing us back further. We're gonna move forward with some of our improvements around there to get ready, so that when they do come in the time period that might be, it sounds like it's gonna be October, November. I don't have an exact date, so I can't really tell you that right now. So I'm not happy about it, but I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it at this point, as we're working through to make sure we're compliant.
Okay.
That is it, unless you guys have questions for me.
And one more, if you don't mind. So, have you had any conversation with Rachel Lindeen and Mike Norris about the Goodyear Road situation?
Yeah, so last Wednesday we set up a meeting, and we're gonna be looking at, and I guess we'll need your blessing, I'm putting some stuff together, but we're looking at potentially doing a RISE grant for that improvement that they just announced. So some of the legwork that we're gonna be looking at is the county and the city, and again, you guys have to have your blessing on it. I was just sitting there listening in, and I think it's a good idea to go after dollars that can help replace a road. So the Goodyear Road is the one we're looking at, is going after a RISE grant to potentially replace that section of road from 235th north up to the bridge, and then at the south end, we were already working on a project with the city to do turn lanes there, and we would look at incorporating the turn lanes potentially with this project. So I don't have a lot of details, because right now we're in the whole thing of getting the estimate put together, seeing if it will work, and then there's one other piece to the pie, is just to make sure that this project's, we're waiting on some announcements. So right now, my part of it is just to get an estimate put together and working with the city. So you guys will have to decide if you want to enter into that program to go forward. In this situation, regional planning would be the one that would administer the project, as far as helping us write the grant, is my understanding.
That was gonna be my question. So they're gonna write grants for us in that perspective.
Yes, and then they would handle some of the paper trail that you deal with the RISE. I've not worked on the RISE before, so I don't want to get into the weeds, but that would be their role. Our role would be is to come up with a design. In this particular case, because of the road segment that we manage that road, we would probably be the lead design, or the lead applicant on this project, as far as who's going to let the project and administer the project from the construction standpoint.
Okay.
And again, that is all just planning. There's no, you guys have decisions to actually move into those agreements. This is just us getting some stuff together first, and then see if you and the city want to move forward with that.
Yeah, I think that'll help me a little bit when I have my next Southeast Iowa Regional Planning.
So, yep. Anything else? Okay, well, we're gonna stay on that side of town while we're working here this week, so we'll keep going on, and
That'll make everybody happy, right?
yeah, we won't do any road closures around Old Rushers this week. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the first reading of Title 5, Chapter 2, aligning the Henry County zoning ordinance with the Senate File 592. We have copies of it here, if anybody wants to be looking at that. Pass those
Anybody interested?
out.
Yeah. Joe, take a copy of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll get you there, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
There you go. Sure, the one was pretty exciting.
Is there a request that we have this completely read out loud? You can have it to read. Something that we are basically required to do.
Well, I think we've changed everything to come in line with that. Change the legislature made last year. This will allow two dwellings on every parcel. Choose to have two dwellings.
I'm asking the other two, and you, Joe and Steve, Are we scheduled for 2 more readings then?
We're not scheduled for 2 more, but we can,
If there's a, we could waive. we
If somebody
waive
makes
it
that
to the
motion.
final, if so desire. Does anybody have a comment or concern if we would just waive the first 2 and go to the final?
I do not have concern.
Okay.
Do you wanna make that motion, or you?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion before us that we waive the first and second readings and go quickly to the third reading on this change of the ordinance.
I'll second that motion.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye, that we go to the third reading. Aye. Opposed, and none. All have had a chance to read this. Any concerns from the, who is in attendance? Need another explanation, any more to an explanation of it or anything?
I will have to change that to add the language for the waiving. So that we need to sign it.
Okay.
I'll correct that and bring it back.
First and second reading, okay.
All right,
Bob, you check, had a
yeah, Bob.
Yeah, I just wanted a clarification on the size of the area.
And as far as,
The size-
Acreage, 1 acre, 2 acres,
it's what, it's the acreage that it's in for whatever the zone is. It just has to meet the setbacks that are the same requirement for the initial house. So there's no definite requirement for acreage, it just depends on the zone.
Yeah.
As long as there's enough room that it can meet the setbacks, you can have the second well.
and what about the existing?
Well, the existing dwelling is, you know, it should meet the code. If it doesn't, it's probably legal non-conforming. And the second one would have to meet the same requirements. Have to, you know, if it's in the A1 zone, it would have to be 50 feet from the road right of way. It has to be 40 feet from the rear, 15 feet from the side. It's, without a specific example, it's kind of hard to explain it.
The reason I brought that up is because like where our house is,
Mm-hmm.
the previous home was probably too close to the road with these requirements.
Right, and if it was too close and it was there before the ordinance, or it was, you know, it was grandfathered in, then it doesn't, you know.
Yeah, because it was built, the back half was
And that would-
1535.
And that wouldn't affect anything, and it is, if you were to say you're gonna add on to the house for another area to live in, as long as it didn't exceed the existing footprint, it'd be fine. If you wanted to exceed that, you'd have to get a variance.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this would not allow a Airbnb be built because it's not a dwelling or a residence.
Well, we don't really regulate Airbnbs. They're almost impossible for us to know about them.
So dwelling's a dwelling and whatever they
Dwelling to
use it for.
dwelling. I guess if it gets to be a problem someday, we can always address it at that time, but right now we don't deal with Airbnbs. They don't come up very often, and
It seems like the intent would not be to allow a rental property like that to be put on your property.
yeah, it
In my
really
mind.
doesn't, it says that the new code says that can be a rental property. And right now, we don't have anything to prevent it from being an Airbnb. I guess if that gets to be an issue, we can address it at that time, but I have yet to have an Airbnb be a issue in Henry County, so.
We don't have any listed in Henry County, so.
Not that I'm aware of, so I guess at the bridge we can cross, we can always amend it again if we need to. You know, this is all brand new language, there's not language like this out there, so we may find some hiccups down the road, and if we do, we'll correct them as we find them. But it's kind of new territory, so you have to expect it, that maybe it's something that we haven't anticipated.
Are there any Airbnbs in Henry County now?
Not that I'm aware of.
They're
No
not
bed and
listed
breakfast.
online.
It's 2 different times.
Okay.
In the city, but not in county that I know of.
According to the recent survey we did with the city, we don't have any listed, which is kind of an issue.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to pass this change in our Henry County zoning ordinance to comply with the Senate File 592.
I'll make a motion to accept this.
Is there a second?
I'll second this. Do we have to do a roll call?
This is not,
Okay.
not for this one, we don't. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no.
I will fix it right after we finish
Okay.
Okay.
Now we'll stay for the next one.
I was gonna say for the next one.
Okay, we have next on our agenda is approval of any subdivision, section 5, Center Township.
Yeah, this is a 3-lot subdivision. This is to conform, this is the Huene farm just east of the country club. They auctioned this, the last month and the month before, they've kind of been working on this for a while. And this conforms to how it was sold at auction. So they're trying to get deeds ready, so as soon as this is complete, they can,
Going to subdivision.
yeah, they didn't realize they had to go to the city, so that kind of put them behind schedule, because the city has signed off on this, because the purple line is your city limit, so it's pretty close to the city, but they signed off on it, they had no concerns over it. And this will just allow them to complete the deeds and get those transferred to the new owners.
So long term, do you have any idea how many parcels that would be, or if anybody said anything?
No, I haven't had any indications if there's any more parcels out there or not. I guess it's a possibility. It would have to come back again, because they'd have to re-subdivide it, so
Right.
if that happens to be the case, they'll be back in again, and there may be more concerns at that time when there are smaller lots, but right now these are,
How big is that? How many acres? The reason I'm asking is because
Right
if it's
here.
that big and they have the potential to go to a subdivision of some sort,
72 acres on the north lot and 67 acres on the south lot.
okay, so it's pretty good size.
Yeah, they're large.
So have you informed the planning and zoning commission of what's going on there? You have something you can send to them so they're aware of it?
Send something to them.
I think in the long term, we should just make them aware in case something down the road comes up. And I think the question was last time they weren't aware of the subdivision south of town. Might, big, small, might, it doesn't matter.
If you guys want to amend the ordinance, I guess you can work on changing the ordinance.
Well, I don't know if we need to change the ordinance. I'm just making sure that we're keeping the P and Z folks in the loop from a communication standpoint.
Okay.
Chad or Mark, you have any concerns?
Does the historical designation of part of that ground, does that affect how a subdivision could be further divided out
It
at
does
all
not.
or anything like that?
It does not. They could do away with all of the historical features out there if they choose to.
Is there anything from our conversation this morning, Camp Harlan, or whatever it was?
Yeah, Camp Harlan.
I've talked to the historical society, and they're making, inquiries as far as at least trying to, get control of that southwest corner where the memorial is. I think, yes, is that they try to, talk to the new property owner, see if they'd be willing to deed that, it's just square feet. They'd be willing to deed that well, I think it may have to be deeded to Henry County, because I don't know that the historical site can actually own anything.
Hmm.
So that's a discussion for down the road. If the county would want to take possession of a few square feet to preserve the memorial.
At least from what I've heard, the developers are going to do their best to keep that data.
Maintain. Cause I think actually the part of the ground that had historical significance was that south lot right in there as a parade ground.
There's that, and there's a spring house out there. The spring house has some historical significance.
Yeah.
So that would fit in with their plan. I would think if this were to go to a smaller lot subdivision, more residential subdivision, the city will probably take the lead on it, because it is, like I said, the city's on both sides of it. It'll have a lot more, for them to do, to decide if they can service it with sewer and water and so on, and if they wanna bring it into the city limits.
So would they have to annex it?
They would have to annex it, yes, and that will probably be a discussion when if, small lots come up.
Okay. Good discussion, thank you.
All right. We have before us a resolution, resolution 26-2025 of the Board of Supervisors of Henry County, Iowa. Whereas the plat of the Huene subdivision in part of the south 3/4 of the west half of section 5, Township 71 north, range 6 west of the 5th PM, Henry County, Iowa, has been filed, I don't know the date actually, with the Secretary Board of Supervisors of Henry County, Iowa, as a proprietor of the said subdivision for approval by the Board of Supervisors of Henry County, Iowa. And whereas the Board of Supervisors has examined this plat and the proofs filed therewith, and being fully apprised to the provisions in chapter 354 Code of Iowa, finds the said plat as filed meets all requirements in the statutes of Henry County, Iowa, zoning and ordinance. Said real estate being located in the AG district, and that all things required by this board has been done to perform by the proprietor of the said subdivision. Whereas Joseph Buffington, planning and zoning administrator for Henry County, Iowa, has reviewed and said final plat and has been approved by him in his official capacity as planning and zoning administrator. And now therefore be resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Henry County, Iowa, that attached plat of the Huene subdivision be thereby be approved by the chairman and secretary, and thereby directed to certify the resolution in which fixed plat, affixed to this plat. And we have the dates and the signature page for these. So, I'll entertain a motion for approve this resolution. We have a motion.
I'll make the, yeah.
You have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
No, the discussion is going back to, again, to making sure that planning and zoning folks are included in this conversation. That's what we have them for, and I think that they need some input, and they can bring their decision to us on something of this nature. It's a pretty good sized opportunity for the community, so I would really like to see them giving a recommendation to us prior to us voting on something like this in the future. Chad?
I'd echo that. I think they could at least be aware of it and give that recommendation.
I think we should amend the ordinance if you're gonna let that be a requirement. I think that needs to be an amendment to the subdivision ordinance. And I think you need to look at, you know, do you want them examining every subdivision, every one lot subdivision in the county?
Yeah, without getting deeper into it, I'd say yes, obviously, because that's what planning and zoning is for. We have a commission for a reason. They should be aware of what's happening, because there's some long-term, short-term impact, and I think that they need to be aware. That's why we have them. That's why we appoint them.
I guess that's another discussion. We'll
Yeah.
look at amending the ordinance.
So with that, any other discussion? We'll have a roll call vote.
Dietrich,
Yes.
Linding,
Yes,
and White.
Yes.
the resolution passes.
Two copies there, one for Robin and one.
I'll still keep Robin, fill these in afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
I will get that
I'll
out.
fill these in at later. Moving on, subcommittees.
Mississippi Valley, as I reported earlier, the vote to merge did successfully pass. The administrators of both regions now are working together, trying to come up with a one set of operational procedures, things like that. They're working through that to get that hammered down. There will be a joint meeting from all the counties represented and their supervisor representatives at a future date. It sounds like next year there will be a required name change of the organization, and the thought process is just started now to come up with a name for that. So that is the latest greatest on that.
I didn't have any subcommittee meetings this past week, but I did go to the county board of supervisors meeting on Tuesday this past week. Had an opportunity to see how they do their meetings and talked to a few folks there, got better acclimated, and it was a good process and a good networking opportunity with some folks down there. So learned a little bit, and it was interesting overall. Also, I've been working with the Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission. We've shared some emails back and forth, but I've got some questions for them and engaged in concerning the revolving loan fund that they administer for us through Henry County. I've got several questions for them, so looking forward to some information coming back that we can share with the group as a whole, and also with some of our homeowners and realtors and landlords within the county, because it would impact them as well. And then, like you folks, I went to ISAC last Thursday and Friday and had some really good sessions.
I had community action in Southeast Iowa, and major discussion point, other than a few changes in bids and things, was the working with getting a new Head Start structure building in Fort Madison, and the time constraints that we're working with. We're looking at buying, or in the process of buying a church down there, and working with Head Start and getting the funding that we need to time and fashion. So that's the main concern there. Okay. Public comments. Yes, Leland.
Okay, thank you. I don't know, last week I thought I got another one of those anonymous letters, but when I opened up, there's a thank you note. I didn't bring it along. You guys get a copy of that by any chance? It doesn't matter, but that's one thing. Then another guy stood there and told me last week, face to face, that your IT guy is working a contract down at the Ordinance plant. And so there's a concern about, we got a department head making $100,000 working a contract on his own, private business like. So I know you guys have known about this for some time, but have you done anything? Or do you have any intention, or who all is in on this deal? But I don't think it looks too good. All right, enough about that. Third thing, if you guys have been by the courthouse on the front side on Sunday afternoon and noticed the Democrat protesters out there, and I've been by there, I know they got rights and everything, but they got this little band squatting on the Veterans Memorial. And I know they got rights, but I don't think that's right. But the other thing is, so I've been, go ahead.
What was on it? A banner?
A band.
Band.
A band. They got a little band.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about a guitar, but they got other instruments. But then I've been told, and I don't know this for a fact, that they're plugged into the receptacle out there to power up their equipment. Now, I don't think they have a right, and I don't think we have a responsibility to fund one particular political party over the other. So I'm telling you, asking you, shut the power off. We don't need to power up protesters.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Bob?
Yeah, with the recent second shooting in a day at the schools up in Minnesota, it's terrible. I'm proud of Henry County, the Board of Supervisors giving a deputy to one of the local schools, paying for it. It's a sad situation we're in this country today, and we don't address mental health enough. They even admitted this morning on the news, they said it's not a gun problem, it's not a rifle problem, it's a people problem. And I don't know where the answer is. It starts at home, starts in the church, starts with a little faith in God. We need to get our country back. It's terrible what's going on in this.
Does the county have a requirement that its employees report outside employment. I would suggest that they might want to consider that. It would help, I think, with the rumors or at least let the supervisors know what it is that their employees are doing. And in most cases, at least at the federal level, it has to be approved by, I would assume in this case, you guys, outside employment.
Thank you.
If in fact it's occurring, which I don't know.
Anybody else?
I do, Mark. First, Mrs. Byers, the sheriff's office has a secondary employment policy, and we adhere to it strictly. I just wanted to thank almost everybody in the room for their attendance Tuesday. It was really overwhelming to show the support for Deputy Lopez as he went through the court process. And I just want to take the second to thank everybody that was able to come, and those that weren't able to come but wanted to and thought of us. I appreciate that very much. Thanks.
Anybody else? You got some more time.
I got a little time left.
Yeah, you got more.
Hey, you know, I gotta tell you, I feel pretty dedicated about coming in here every Thursday, and sometimes it cuts into my volunteer work. So, if you guys would fix a few things so I didn't have to come in here, I'd have more time to fix my hair and stuff. Okay?
You look good though.
I know.
Thank you. Ron, anything?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to start timber work, so if you're got any extra time, come on out.
Volunteering.
That's all I got.
Either of you two have anything else? If not,
Anything?
I'm good, thanks.
if not, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are all going to adjourn so we can go volunteer out at Old Thrashers, Leland.
Yeah.
Be out there in a little bit.
I'll be
Opening
out there.
ceremony.
I got one in my job this afternoon.
Is there a place for volunteers to park? I'm gonna be playing traffic cop a lot.